an answer there. The COVID-19 pandemic is certainly not going to be the last pandemic to hit the world. There are bound to be more pandemics, and the healthcare crisis of the world will still count on us healthcare workers to come up with effective healthcare solutions. Furthermore, the probability of health emergencies occurring will keep increasing due to several factors such as population increase. Now they're calling on the Chinese. Urbanization increasing, global mobility, climate change, changes in food care agricultural systems. It is imperative that we are prepared. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Let me tease your minds for a few seconds. Let's use Africa as an example. Our president and the timely strategic COVID-19 task force that he put in place. We did very well, didn't we, in Ghana? Did we? Okay. So that means that we were well prepared, didn't we? Weren't we? Okay. So if you agree, Ghana, we didn't drop dead. Before the pandemic, you heard about the fact that Ghana is going to drop dead. People in Africa are going to drop dead. But I think in Africa we tried, didn't we? The weather was hot, wasn't it? Right. So then we don't need to do anything else. With a pandemic of this magnitude and looking at how hard and how well we did, do we really need to train the healthcare professionals any more than we did? Okay. So if it is, then what else can we do? We don't need to do anything else. We did well in the last pandemic. Ghanaians didn't die. We don't need to do anything else. I think we did very, very well. What could be worse? If Ghanaians didn't die and all over the world people were dying, if you agree with me that Ghana did very well, and I mean, people died all over the world and Ghana didn't die and the weather is hot, I don't think we need to do anything else. I think Ghana did very well. So if you agree with me, then how do we ensure that we are prepared for when the next pandemic strikes? Because from what I hear, we don't need to do anything else. So Ghana is well prepared. The harsh reality facing us is that we know not when the next pandemic will strike, where it will start from, and we always need to be prepared. So if you think that we did well and we don't need to do anything well, then there's no point in my giving this talk. From SARS-CoV-2 to Ebola and SARS, we do not know when disease outbreaks will occur, and as healthcare workers who manage diseases, we must be prepared to manage the systems and care for the patients who will be infected. Nobody knows when the next pandemic will strike. Nobody knows the magnitude of pandemics. Nobody knows how the next pandemic will be. And nobody knows to date why Ghana was not as affected as we thought. We actually don't know what happened to Ghana. We don't know why we did not suffer as much as we did. So we don't have any answers. So we still need to be prepared. And as healthcare professionals going out there, we don't know the answers, and therefore we need to be prepared. The core target of all healthcare professionals is that we need to promote lives and we need to save lives. At this point, I will stop and ask you all an important question. I want you to think about the answer of this question, and at the end of my presentation, I'll ask you the question. What motivated you and inspired you to go into the professions that you are going into? Because at the end of my presentation, I want you to tell me why you want to be a pharmacist, why you want to be a doctor, why you want to be a scientist. And you need to tell me why. It goes without saying that our training should be structured. If your training is not structured, you cannot save lives. You cannot get up in the morning and just go to work. Because otherwise, you will be a lazy doctor, you will be a lazy pharmacist, you will be a lazy PharmD student. The next thing you know, you are just wandering around your job. If you are not motivated to do what you are doing, you will not do it properly. If you are not structured in the work that you are doing, if you do not get up every morning and know why you are doing what you are doing, you will not progress. And I will tell you why at the end of my presentation. Every morning you need to know why you are what you are doing. That is what motivates you. So every morning you need to know why you are a PharmD student. And every morning you need to tell yourself why. Because otherwise, you will wake up one morning and decide to become an accountant. So please, as you start your post-education journey, always keep at the core of your mind your career building choices. Healthcare professionals need to be trained, and you should have a high research and development skill. That is part of your career building choice. Research and development skills, and you need to be interested. We are winning the COVID-19 fight because during the pandemic, there were vaccines that were available, and they did not come from Ghana. The vaccines came from another country. And in the next pandemic, if we don't have vaccines, we will be in trouble. Because when the vaccines came, we didn't have them. It took about 10 months before we had vaccines, and even then, we are still getting vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines were developed and deployed in record times in other countries, but they didn't come to Ghana early. If a few countries had not built the research and development capacity to come up with the needed vaccines to prevent COVID-19 disease, many parts of the world would have been with severe lockdown and restrictions. Most of the healthcare professionals in Ghana and Africa as a whole need to be involved in research and development and clinical trials to place us on a more level playing field with our Western counterparts. So most of you going out there, you have just finished. Some of you can go into research and development. As you leave here, as you go out into the field, as you go out, you need to have a structured postgraduate mind. I did pharmacy. After pharmacy, where am I going? Ghana is going into vaccine development. Ghana is going into vaccine manufacture. Where do I fit in? You should have a research, and you have a lot of professors here. Some of them are looking at me. Some of them have high research and development minds, and most of them are in that field. Please go into that field so that Ghana is not stuck waiting for vaccines in the next pandemic. That is how you need to be thinking. The commencement of vaccine development and manufacture in Ghana now provides a vast opportunity for pharmacists, for biomedical scientists, and other healthcare professionals to spearhead the vaccine and research development in pandemics as well as for endemic diseases. So Ghana is not caught out. Go for it. Research and development domain is open, and the sky is the limit for young scientists like you. Secondly, postgraduate training should focus on innovation and entrepreneurship. Many of us were fascinated by the ingenuity and creativity of many young Ghanaians during the pandemic. You know, during the pandemic, I was proud to be a Ghanaian. They came up with various forms of test kits, hand washing equipment, personal protective equipment. People were doing stands for sanitizers, for hand washing. One group even developed ventilators, which are now being used and optimized for commercial production in readiness for future pandemics. We will be ready because people will do that. A few academics in Ghana are developing diagnostic tools. You've heard of somebody who has an HIV test kit. We could be the next people who develop the new, somebody actually even developed a test kit for a COVID-19. We shouldn't wait for it to come from somewhere. We can develop it ourselves, and there are scientists here who can do it. We won't wait for it to come from anywhere. You will develop it, and myself as a regulator, I will test it, and I will test it, and I will validate it. That is what I expect from you. Zipline was headed by a Ghanaian pharmacist, and it shows what we can and what we can possibly do. Zipline launched the first ever drone service for delivery of life-saving commodities to hard-reach communities and has received justifiable praise for innovation and creativity. The COVID-19 pandemic, healthcare professionals identified opportunities to support the efforts in fighting the pandemic by ensuring the timely availability of healthcare commodities, particularly when there was a very real threat of shortages due to sovereign border closures. The border was closed. There was nothing that was coming in. But at that time, Ghanaian scientists realized that they could do things. If there's another pandemic and the border is closed, it is people like you, it is young scientists like you who need to innovate. That is how we know that we're ready for another pandemic. When young scientists like you can come up with innovations, can come up with entrepreneurship, can come up with things, that is when Ghana will know they are ready. Not when we don't get affected by COVID-19. Not when we don't drop dead on the streets. That is what I was talking about. The healthcare professionals, however, are not free from challenges. One of the main things is not having resources to work with, but that is the same old story. So dear graduating class of UHAS, we are living in a world which is uncertain, which has complex issues, and which has ambiguous issues. Added to this complex conditions, we have climate change, we have wars, We have economic challenges, we have disasters. All these things are uncertainties. We have stress loads, unfortunately, but as you start your career, learn to adapt. Learn to be agile, learn to be pragmatic. You have the benefits of what we didn't have. We were normal. You are not normal. You've grown up in abnormal times. You've grown up where you've had to do online classes. You've grown up in times where you've had to adapt. So you have one advantage that we didn't have. So you have a benefit that I did not have. So you are on a level that I was not. And I'm so proud of you because you have come out in a world that I did not come out in. I wish I had grown up like you, actually. Ghana, like more African countries, we don't have the resources, but we have people like you. And we have people like you to throw into the world. The world is not a normal place anymore, but the world is producing scientists, and Africa is producing scientists that are different from the scientists of the other world. Africa is producing scientists that have had to learn under harsher conditions and therefore are easier to adapt. So go out there and show the scientists of the developing world that you can do what they cannot do. Go out and show the scientists of the developing world that you can adapt. That is what you have that they do not have. Scientists of UHAS have the benefit of lecturers that are seasoned lecturers, because I've worked with a lot of them before. You have lecturers that a lot of universities don't have, and I can proudly say that. I sit with those lecturers around tables that a lot of universities don't have, and I'd like to give you a hand to your lecturers. Some of them are looking at me now, but I'm not looking at them. You have been trained to succeed, and succeed you will. You must focus on your key values of selflessness, compassion, teamwork, and above all, integrity. And care for all, and you will make it. Your prime motivation should be delivery of healthcare without fear or favor. As you leave the protective walls and campus of UHAS, be aware that you have been given fundamental training that will help you in pandemic preparedness. There's a whole lot more for you to learn. Never set your mind on favor, because your mind is one of the greatest gifts that God has given you. Everything that you do in life is from your mind. Once you can think it, you can do it. The mind is a very powerful tool. Use it. As you move from this industrial area, as you move in this era, please use your mind and remember that you can do anything that you set your mind onto. Mr. Vice Chancellor, Mr. Chairman, the Vice Chancellor, our learned faculty, our deserving graduating class, distinguished invited guests, in ending my speech, I would like to congratulate the first graduating class of PharmD students. You are the pace setters for your school, and you must demonstrate a high level of knowledge and professionalism wherever you find yourself. Present yourself in a manner that will make pharmacists from UHAS the most sought after. I hope you have thoughts of what motivates you to go into, that motivated you to go into the health profession. Keep that dear to you, keep it in your heart, and remind yourself every morning without fail. I won't tell you what my motivation was. When you see me outside this room, please ask me and I'll let you know. I'd like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity. I'd like to thank your transformational lecturers of this university, and it is because of them that the FDA continues to work with this university. To all the graduates, I wish you the best in your chosen field. You have gone through the mill and you are now equipped to make it. God bless UHAS and continue to resource it. And God bless the graduation students. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Another round of applause for Mrs. Darkon. I hope our graduates are going home with some nuggets of wisdom. Now I introduce to you Royal Highness Togwe Apede the 14th, Agbogo Mefia of the Sogli State. Togwe Apede the 14th was born James Akpo in Ho in the Volta region of Ghana on 23rd April 1957 to late Corporal Patrick Akpo and Madame Rose Anyawe, both from Hue Bankwe. Togwe Apede brother began primary school at the Ho Bankwe Roman Catholic Boys School in 1961 at the age of 4. After 8 years of elementary school, he entered Beje Secondary School in 1969 and successfully completed the GCEO level in 1974. He then proceeded to Laboni Secondary School in Accra, where he excelled in GCEA level examinations in 1976. He earned his BSc in Administration Accounting from the University of Ghana School of Administration, Legon in 1979, and received his MBA from the Yale School of Management in May 1989. Togwe did his post-graduation national service at the Eswell Bank of Housing and Construction, where as a planning officer, he performed financial analysis of loan applications projects and established and negotiated short and long-term loans and financial packages for clients. Between 1981 and 1984, Togwe worked in the Ghana Cocoa Marketing Board as an accountant. Subsequently lectured in economics and accounting at Sokoto State Polytechnic School of Management Studies in Nigeria. In 1989, he returned to Ghana, accepting an appointment as a lecturer at the School of Administration, University of Ghana, where he taught financial accounting and accounting theory until 1994. Togwe Afede, the 14th, the founder of the SAS group of companies and provides overall strategic co-founded direction to the businesses. He has over 18 years of experience in investment banking, having co-founded Data Bank Financial Services Limited in 1990. Togwe has received recognition for his outstanding contribution to society, including the Order of the Volta Officer conferred by the President J. Kufuor on July 8, 2008, and several other awards, one of which is the 2011 World Entrepreneurial Day Awards, Chieftaincy Leadership 2010 Millennium Excellence Awards, Ghana, Order of the Volta 2008 National Republic Day Awards, Planters of Seed Awards, 2006 Ghana Top 100 Businesses Awards Ceremony, Personality of the Year 2005, Millennium Excellence Awards, Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Royal Highness of the Asogli State, Togwe Apede the 14th. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our Lord Chairman of Council, Justice Doche, Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Adutum, Honorable Volta Regional Minister, our very distinguished guest speaker, council members of UHAS, Vice Chancellor and staff of UHAS, Togbe Teprehodo, President of the Volta House of Chiefs, Togbe Mamao, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to participate in this very important program and to be invited to this program as the guest of honor. My presence here today reminds me of that very important day, the 7th of February 2011, when, with the support of the chiefs and queens of Asogli, I assisted then President Professor Mills to cut a sword to lay the foundation for realization of what has been the dream of the people of Asogli, the dream for a public university in our community. Looking back, I can only bless that day. UHAS has come a long way and has been a source of pride for we, the people of Asogli. UHAS has achieved so much within its short period of existence. In the areas of infrastructure, we can all see it. The various programs that they run, to which they've continued adding, thousands of students that they've graduated, and therefore the difference they've made in our health sector. The several relations they've established abroad, the international partners are all listed in the book we have. Those are all very great achievements. I also would like to congratulate all who have helped in all these efforts of the university. Very much the contribution of the Chinese government and its contractors, and of course, the important role of the Ghana government in the journey. And congratulate members of council, both past and present, management and staff, both past and present. And to congratulate in particular the vice chancellors who have steered the affairs of this university over the years. A special congratulations to our current Vice Chancellor, Professor Lydia Aziato, who over the short period that she's been in the driving seat has proved beyond all doubt that she has unwavering commitment to the cause of this university. And of course, she has tried to forge a very close relationship with the chiefs and queens in Nepal Asogli. We believe that under her leadership, the traditional authority, the people of the state, and the university will work together to support the future growth of this very important institution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm honored to be here. This is my first participation in a congregation of this university, and it's my commitment to continue to be part of the journey going forward. Thank you very much. I want to congratulate our more than 800 graduates who the day belongs to. The purpose of university education, I believe, is to liberate the mind. The essence is to create astute decision makers who can make the difference in our increasingly complex society. These are the people that our country needs. And I believe that your years in this university has helped to liberate your minds so you can think outside of the box and add to the stock of knowledge that is available to the world in your various fields of specialization. I believe indeed that with the strength of the resources that have supported you over the years that you've been here, you can be called critical thinkers in your various fields. And I want to welcome you to the Society of Critical Thinkers. You are entering the world in a very difficult period. And of course, the speaker has made reference to the challenges that the world is facing today. The world is undergoing phenomenal changes, and there are important happenings across the world. We are just emerging from COVID, which was an existential threat to the whole world. We are still in the midst of an important war, let me call it that. Never since World War II has the world been caught in a conflict as grave as we are witnessing in Ukraine, with adverse consequences for all of us. We also are battling questions about climate change, with serious implications for our way of life. The world has responded to all of this in many, many ways. So we see changes in the environment of technology. We see changes happening in the area of energy, talk about energy transition, to minimize the damage to our environment. We also are seeing changes in international relations. Various alliances are being built. We also are seeing changes in international payments systems, mostly in response to the happenings in the world, in particular, the war in Ukraine. All of these have produced consequences for all of us and have created uncertainties that make the world you are entering a very difficult one compared to what obtained just a few years ago. We have seen the effects on Ghana, where inflation has gone past 50% for the first time in many, many years. We've seen our currency lose value, a loss of more than 50% over the past 1 year. And we've also seen joblessness growing, particularly among our youth. So there are many who have left school many years ago who still have not found jobs. We also have seen a country that has become debt-ridden, unable to service its debts. And we've seen the response of government and the consequences for many of us in business pensioners, individual investors, and etc. So those have created very, very difficult environment for you new graduates, and therefore making the future look very, very uncertain. The implications are about the same across all of Africa. COVID, the war in Ukraine, have demonstrated how vulnerable we are as a continent. One would have expected that, given our resource endowments, we should be the one to stand strongest in the midst of all of this. With 30% of all world's known resources, 20% of the world's landmass, and 17% of the world's population, one would have thought that the economic power all of these give us would enable us to withstand a lot of these shocks. But unfortunately, we have become the worst victims of COVID-19, and we have suffered more than any other continent the consequences of the Russian-Ukrainian war. This indeed is the environment that you are entering. This is the world you are stepping into. I want to add that it is not all bad news. Change and uncertainty bring opportunity, and that must be a source of encouragement to you. When everything is stable, you don't have an opportunity. When things are heading downwards, there's opportunity. When they're heading upwards, there's opportunity. When there is instability, there is opportunity. And those should be the things that should encourage you, that should let you know that with your liberated minds, your ability to think critically, you can find your place in the world. You can make a difference to the Ghanaian situation and therefore to the world situation. You should also remember that your education has prepared you very well. And so that should make you want to enter the world with courage. If you remember there are only a few people in Ghana with university degrees, then be assured that you are among the privileged few. And therefore, we all are looking up to you to come and contribute to the resolution of the problems and the challenges that we face. You also have to remember that you have a responsibility to yourselves, your families, your communities, your country, Ghana, and to the world at large. And these responsibilities are what you have been prepared for, and you must be happy to face the challenges that come with these responsibilities. We also know that your sector is not necessarily one of the most endowed in our country. And the Speaker has made reference to the fact that you may not have all the resources that you need for your work. But again, as critical thinkers, you must find ways of using what you have to greatest effect, so you can be positive contributors, agents of change in your very, very important sector. There is a temptation to join the exodus, as we see happening across all sectors, particularly among people of your profession. We know people with your kind of skills are in great demand across the world. But again, remember, as I said, in times of change, in times of uncertainty, there's an opportunity. And more opportunity abound here in Ghana, in Africa, than elsewhere. It is the realization of this that me to return to Ghana right after I completed my studies, because I know that Ghana presents a greenfield. Ghana presents an environment that you can make an impact in, an environment in which you can distinguish yourself, an environment in which you can make a difference. So I would encourage you to look more at the positive sides of all of these things. Again, uncertainty creates opportunity, and your education has prepared you, equipped